What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you a 2023 NFL mock draft. No trades, one round, but specifically what I would do. This is not looking through the lens of what teams may do or what could happen. This is specifically my players, my rankings, what I would do if I was in control of these teams. Starting off at number one, the player for me, it's going to be Bryce Young. Um, in real life, I think there's absolutely a scenario where you take a CJ Stroud or Will Levis here. When you're in rebuild mode, you're potentially looking for that high upside quarterback of the future. Me personally, Bryce Young is by far and away quarterback one in this class. He doesn't have the highest ceiling of the class, but I would say he has the highest floor, and I just kind of opt for the safer guys. But just because he doesn't have the highest ceiling does not mean he doesn't have a high ceiling. Bryce Young can still be very good for the Texans here. Number two, going to be the Bears, and the pick pretty easy here. It's going to be Jalen Carter, number one player in my class. Jalen Carter is a monster, and people seem to have forgotten that somewhat. I think it's mainly just they want to have new names up there. He's a beast in every way. Every way, really. He fits really well into this 4-3 defense. He's best as a 4-3 defensive tackle. And he adds a whole layer to this Bears defense. Just single handedly, he's going to make their pass rush good. I would absolutely say he has a future defensive player of the year potential. Just a very, very good player. Lions here at three is where it gets interesting. This is really where it begins for me, where I kind of start to say, where do we go? You can go quarterback here. Jared Goff, like he's playing good, right, to a degree, but he's not the future at quarterback. At the same time, I don't know if this is the class you go after a quarterback. I think this is a good opportunity to go ahead and get a really good defensive player in Willie Anderson, who really is just going to continue to make that pass rush even better. They run a very versatile defense, switching to odd and even fronts, and you already got a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. Unfortunately, Romeo Aquara just kind of seems to have taken a step down from what he was a couple years ago. But Will Anderson and Aiden Hutchinson on the same defense, like Aiden Hutchinson, I think it's become pretty clear at this point. I wasn't as high on him as other people. He's definitely a guy that benefits from talent around him. And there are some players in the league that are just like that, where, he can create his own stuff, but when there are players around him, he takes advantage of it in the best way possible. That's what Bud Dupree used to be really good at. Um, so I think he's one of those players. Having Will Anderson across from him, and keep in mind, I'm not as high on Will Anderson as others. I don't think he's going to be this game wrecking defensive player of the year type, but still certainly is going to be a very good player though. And I think just a great player to add here for the Lions. Seahawks here at four, getting a very good pick from the Broncos. Um, I'm tempted to go quarterback, honestly, just because Pete Carroll is such a great offensive mind. A CJ Stroud is very, very tempting here. It really is. Kaylee Ringo definitely in the conversation because getting another shutdown corner across from Tariq Woolen makes that defense even scarier. Um, yeah, I mean, the line's been pretty well actually for the most part. You almost really don't have to go line if you don't want to. Um, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to scroll down here because it's not letting me. But well, that's a different video. Either way, though, and we can just go to positions besides that. But I don't know if there's another player here that I'd really be interested in taking, besides the CJ Stroud, because as good as Geno Smith has been at times this year, he's 33. I'm pretty sure, and so even if he continues to play at the level he has, which isn't like great per se, just good, he's older. So yeah, honestly, I think CJ Stroud makes sense here. You've got a young team with a lot of talent around you. Pete Carroll, I mean, he doesn't seem to be done. He's still very good, a very good offensive mind. If he can develop CJ Stroud into anything, that would be fantastic for the Seahawks to have a quarterback of his potential. Um, and then the Panthers here at five, I mean, I just almost want to say Will Levis, honestly, because you look at the other guys here, and I mean, sure, they could go get a Quentin Johnston, right? Or get a really high upside Miles Murphy, or maybe you go tight end even with Michael Mayer here. But honestly, I think quarterback just makes sense. And Levis brings that upside that you're looking for. He's just got that great, you know, the build to him. He's decently athletic. He's got a nice arm. I mean, the only thing missing from him is just a good coach teaching him properly. And so, the Panthers, they go out, they get an offensive oriented coach, especially like a Frank Reich. Um, you could very well be, because the comparison for this guy is Carson Wentz, and I agree. That is my comparison for him is Carson Wentz. The difference is, while his floor may be, you know, bust out of the league, his ceiling is, well, an Eagles Carson Wentz. I don't know about an MVP Carson Wentz, but an Eagles. And so for me, makes sense, especially with the Frank Reich stuff. I'm really on the train of Frank Reich, Will Levis for here for the Panthers. I think it'd be a good for them. Then the Eagles at 6. Also going to get a good pick here from a team they traded with, the Saints. And here for the Eagles, I mean, there's a few places you can go, even for such a complete team. Um, but really, I mean, I think, defensively, it has to kind of be where you end up going. Uh, I believe Brandon Graham may be gone after this year. I'm not totally sure. I know Fletcher Cox is on his last year. Um, at the same time, I like Milton Williams. Javon Hargrave's been very good. So I don't know if you go interior here. You could go edge, but Hassan Reddick's been very, very good for the Eagles. Linebacker, maybe. It's really too early for that, though. I think corner's gotta be the big pick here just because Slay's been great, but he's not getting any younger. I'm not sure if they'll be able to retain Bradbury, and Maddox is only so good, right? He's a high level corner 3 for me. And for me, the number 1 corner in this class this year is Christian Gonzalez. He's been completely shut down for Oregon. He's just been incredible. I mean, there's not much way around it. He's a better man player than I would say he is zone, but that's not to say he's bad in zone at all. Like he's still very good at it. And so just all around physical player, big guy. I like Christian Gonzalez here for the Eagles. Cardinals at 7 are punching the air because Christian Gonzalez got taken right from under their noses. But don't be worried because this guy called Eli Ricks is still right there. And I really love the fit of Eli Ricks. Trying to find my mouse. Don't know where. There it is. We found it. Eli Ricks. I really like the fit here for the Cardinals. I think he would work fantastically in a Vance Joseph scheme, which kind of stems from that Fangio tree, which they like their corners that can play like Eli Ricks. This guy could almost be, a better than prime Kyle Fuller in a way. I see some shades of that, but again, even better potentially. This guy was very, very good as a freshman at LSU. And it was frustrating that Alabama didn't play him much this year, but when he did play, for the most part, he was very, very good. So he could surely come back next year. That's a possibility. But if he does come out, he's a top 10 pick to me. He's very good. Packers picking here at 8. And for the Packers here, I mean, receiver, I mean, heck, Quentin Johnston's still available. We know they love their big receivers. Um, I guess you could go maybe like tackle or safety, but I just don't see why not go Quentin Johnston here. Like they love their large receivers, and I know this is what I would do, but that's not to say I love Quentin Johnston. He's my receiver 1, big frame, he's speedy though, despite his size, and just really has it all. I see bust potential as well. He kind of comes off as one of those guys where it's like he could very easily be one of these super hyped up prospects that like just doesn't do much at the NFL level. But of course, that can be almost any player. But for Quentin Johnston, like he's a good player. He really is. So, um, for TCU at least, he's been very good. There's high upside there with the Packers and Jordan Love, who does seem to be the future. At least he's played good in, this last game that we saw from him. Number 9, the Raiders. Well, if you're picking at 9, you're not going to get an opportunity to replace Derek Carr at this point. They could still very much use some offensive line help, and Peter Skoronski is still available. I'm even now wondering if I should have had him go earlier, but no, I mean, he's going about, I don't think any of those teams really need him all that much. But Skoronski's very, very good, though. He might be the pick here. He'd be great to slot in there at right tackle across from Colton Miller. Defensively, they could still use some interior help. My top interior guy at this point, since Jalen Carter's gone, is actually Carl Brooks, who I think would work pretty well in this Patrick Graham scheme. I think I'm sure they have him in here somewhere. Um, and I can see him as kind of that 3-4 D end, or even you can switch him to outside linebacker if you want. I'm just trying to see if they even have him. I'm definitely higher on Carl Brooks than most people. That's for sure. Having Isaiah McGuire at 146 is should be criminal, by the way. Um, these rankings aren't super up to date, but I can't find Carl Brooks, which is kind of disappointing because he should be here, but I don't see him. So I might have to. He'll probably go at some point during this, so I might have to do a fill-in player. But as for the Raiders, like I said, Skoronski is definitely in play here. They also need a corner. At this point, you'd be going Kelly Ringo, which I think would be a really good fit for the Raiders defense, actually. So I'd say it's between Ringo and Skoronski. It's tough because, like, Derek Carr looks to be on his way out the door. So you want to have something nice built for your next quarterback, but you also don't know where that next quarterback's coming from and when. So you could invest in the offensive line now. I mean, again, Skoronski's a very good player, but Ringo's also a very good corner, and making that defense better is, it's really a toss up. I think at the end of the day, I just think Ringo in the Raiders defense sounds like a really nice fit. So I'm going to go with Ringo here. Again, I really love the fit there. I think he just worked perfectly in a Patrick Graham defense. Texans picking again at 10. They already went Bryce Young. Um, Offensively, you could go here again. In fact, I mean, there's still some good receivers on the board. Michael Mayer's still here, and there's some good defensive players, but Peter Skoronski's still available. You have a new starting quarterback. Get that offensive line better. Get yourself an elite tackle there with Peter Skoronski, who, I mean, really, if you do want to keep Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard, just kick Skoronski into guard. Um, you're building something there, at that point, because the line's still not been very good. Because Kenyon Green has not been good. Tunsil's getting older, but he's still playing at a high level, and Howard's been he's been pretty inconsistent. Either way, Skoronski, you're helping build up that line there for Damian Pierce and Bryce Young. Number 11, the Jaguars. Receiving help is a possibility here. Calvin Ridley will be back, and he'll be a nice boost. Christian Kirk's been well this year. Beyond that, they don't have a lot of receiving help. Michael Mayer really interests me at this pick. But they too could use some upgrade to their offensive line. Are there any other offensive linemen I would take this high? I don't think so. Um, the next guy I'd probably be taking after this is like a Broderick Jones, and I see him more as like an early 20s guy. Defensively, I mean, I guess they could maybe go pass rush, but interior. I think the pick, Michael Mayer just makes sense here. Uh, you know, Evan Ingram's not been anything special this year. Trevor Lawrence, you just got him Calvin Ridley, which is a great trade. Um, Go get him a very, very good tight end prospect, a very good receiving tight end with Michael Mayer. Build up that offense for him some more. Steelers at number 12. You got your quarterback. Maybe you go receiver. I think Jordan Addison makes sense, right? That old Pittsburgh connection. Um, if you want to go receiver, the offensive line still needs some help. Again, I don't know if there's any guys I'm willing to take at this point, but if you want to reach, there's guys to go with here. Defensively, I mean, there's a need at corner. Linebacker now too, but again, it's still too early for any of these linebackers. Corner wise, I mean, the next guy on my board would probably be who is on my board after Ringo? Because for me, Devon Weatherspoon is next on my board. And where do they have him at? He should be somewhere on here, but hopefully not too low. 123. Disrespectful. He's a possibility here. I kind of just like because I want to go Addison, but he's also similar in Deontay Johnson in a lot of rights, so I don't really know if that's the way to go here. And it's a little too early for Jackson Smith-Njigba, in my opinion. But it's also a little early for line. So I feel like either way, we're going to end up reaching on a corner lineman or a receiver here. The line could really use a new tackle. I will go Broderick Jones. I mean, he fits them, right? They like their bigger guys. He's a big, powerful lineman for sure. I think he could go there, play at left tackle, makes that offensive line better for them. Lions at 13. They took Will Anderson earlier. So, do you take Anthony Richardson? That's a good question. Well, he's a high upside quarterback, that's for sure. Who's going to develop him? I don't really know because I don't want to take this guy if I don't have someone to develop him. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep Dan Campbell around. And I don't know if Ben Johnson's a great talent developer per se. He's just really knows how to use that offense most weeks. I'm almost wondering if you go defense again because the line is so built. They've got so many great young weapons. Michael Mayer's off the board, so I guess they could go Laporta, but it feels a little early for him. I don't know why he's by. I don't know why he's below Cameron the two. you know, Anthony Richardson almost might be the pick here just because of the pure value he can bring. Miles Murphy would make sense, but they already went pass rush. Sewell, again, I think it's just a little early for him. Still linebackers. Um, I suppose they could go corner. Okuda's been all right this year. Um, RORA is kind of taken a step back. I think Joey Porter would work really well in this defense. Um, do you continue to just make the defense better? I mean, I guess it's just kind of the question of like this team is so young and it's being built very well. You could put money toward, yeah, we're just gonna do that. Anthony Richardson to the Lions. Um, I don't know how much I trust him being able to develop here, but I think you can have him develop under Jared Goff for a few years and then give him a chance. I mean, again, very young, talented team. So many weapons, great line. Defense is being built slowly. Will Anderson adds to that. Anthony Richardson, take the gamble here, I think. Colts at 14, they're punching the wall right now because all the quarterbacks are gone. This is not what they wanted at all. Because of that, we kind of just got to focus on the line since Jonathan Taylor is going to be the entirety of our offense going forward. And if that's going to be the case, I mean, the next tackle on my board is Darnell Wright. Olu would be really great here, but he's returning. I mean, I guess. Do you really need guard? Because who are you? It's Quentin Nelson, and I'm not sure who plays right guard for them. Let me look really quick. Because obviously Mark Lewinsky went to the Giants. Right now, it's Matt Pryor. Oh, they're keeping Bernhard Raymond at left tackle, which is not a good. Yeah, that's not good. And I'd still like to give Raymond a chance, though. Maybe you go Andrew Voorhees just because he has that versatility. Where do they have him ranked? Where is Andrew Voorhees? No way is he this low. No way, really? Or maybe he has to be in guard then, I would assume. But this is also really low for him as a guard because I actually prefer him as a guard. Yeah, he's at 131. That's crazy. We're gonna go Voorhees. Play him at guard or tackle, whatever you need. You got to prioritize the line, get that better because, like I said, Jonathan Taylor's going to be your offense this year unless you can land yourself a Tom Brady or, an Aaron Rodgers or something. So, yeah, either way, prioritize the line here. Falcons at 15. You're probably riding with Ritter going into this season. The Lions played better, not great, but I don't really see you replacing anyone right now. I think receiver has to be a big consideration here, especially since, both these two guys are still on the board. With London kind of being that, like, he's really better as a slot more than anything, just because I think Ritter's going to have a tough time getting the ball to him on the outside. Since I'd like to use Drake London more as a slot than anything, I think you go with Jackson Smith and Jigba here. I think they make the better duo than him and Addison, but Addison's still a very good player. I have him above JSN, but I think this makes sense here for the Falcons. Again, get some weapons here. Maybe you can land a quarterback if Ritter doesn't work out. Seahawks picking again at 16. They took CJ Stroud. Let's get them Miles Murphy. High upside pass rusher that I'm not as high on as other people, but there's just no point not to, right? You're looking for the future as well as the current right now. You're building a very good young team here at this point with a lot of upside. You have CJ Stroud, Kenny Walker, DK Metcalf, Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, Miles Murphy, Tariq Woolen, Jordan Brooks. I mean, yeah, that's fun to think about if you're a Seahawks fan. Moving on to the Chargers at 17. We're halfway through the draft now, and I'm going to kind of speed up the picks because this is already becoming a long video. They need receiving help, especially since Keenan Allen can't stay healthy and Mike Williams is one-dimensional. Let's give them Jordan Addison. I think it makes sense. He's a nice pickup here. His injury shouldn't hold him back too much. Patriots, they also kind of need receiver. I guess they can go cornerback. A lot of their safeties are on one-year deals, but I don't know how I feel about taking one at 18. Um, Pass rush wise, Tyree Wilson would make a lot of sense here. He's very good. Carl Brooks, I also think, could make a lot of sense here. I'm trying to think. My number two is Isaiah McGuire. He would be really good in this defense as well. Do you go pass rush? Mm, or even Joey Porter would make sense too. Add another corner to that. Bill Belichick has a thing with corners. He can make them play very good, and well, Joey Porter in this defense would downright be scary. For the Patriots, yeah, I think the sound of Joey Porter in this defense is pretty frightening. So I'm going to take him, and Bill Belichick's going to make him a very, very good player. Buccaneers at 19. There's not much you can do here quarterback wise, really. You could take Hendon Hooker, but just with the injury, it's kind of risky. You won't have him until midway through the season either, probably is the issue. Um, they could go tackle. I think Anton Harrison, Darnell Wright makes sense here at left tackle. Defensively, I'm not sure what you do really. I think you kind of have your guys set in place for the future at these positions. They're kind of in a weird place right now because they have Rashad White, who I like at running back. You know, I'm not sure what Brady's going to do. I'm not sure what their plan is. Is getting Hendon Hooker going to help you all that much? Not really. I'm going to give him Darnell Wright, play at left tackle. I think he'd be pretty good for them. Keep that line ever so good. Commanders at 20. Kind of weird what they'll do too. I'm not sure. They could go tight end. This is about the spot that I think Sam Laporta could go. Also need some corner help though. Now with William Jackson being gone, they kind of need some help across from Kendall Fuller. Derek Force has been good this year. He's a safety, so let's build out that defense. Let's get Ron Rivera, some of that back for himself. Cam Smith across from Kendall Fuller, very potentially scary duo. 21, the Ravens. The Ravens here, receiver's an option still. They're still not very good at receiver. At this point, I think I really like the sound of who is it? It's hold on really quick. I like the sound of a Mr. Xavier Hutchinson. I think he'd work well in this offense. You could really honestly even go pass rush again just because a lot of their pass rushes are older. Or even Carl Brooks, actually, now that I think about it, would be a very good fit here. Xavier Hutchinson's tempting. Now, I don't know where Carl Brooks is. And I wish there was a search feature, but I don't see him in this list anywhere. Sucks because he's. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay, I found him. Yeah, we're going to go Carl Brooks here. Um, I think he works well in here. I like him most as a 3-4 D end. It's what they like to run. I think be a great addition to a team that's trying to blitz so heavy most of the time nowadays. Really, they're trying to go away from the blitz, but they should go back to blitzing because it's not working for them. 22, the Jets. Again, quarterback just not an option at this point. Like, you can't really upgrade from Zach Wilson. I really think they should go after Jimmy G in real life. If you're going to do that, you might want an upgraded receiver. Elijah Moore doesn't even want to be there, and he's like your only good receiver. They have A.T. Perry, or you know what? A.T. Perry or Xavier Hutchinson. Let's get Xavier Hutchinson in here. I think he makes sense. Very talented receiver, bigger target, but great route runner as well, though. Bengals at 23. Give him Sam Laporta. There's other areas they could go, but Sam Laporta in the Bengals offense makes a lot of sense for obvious reasons. Talented tight end, shades of George Kittle. They need tight end. Giants at 24. Again, you're not upgrading for Daniel Jones at this point. You could use receiver. A.T. Perry, I think, makes sense here. Zay Flowers as well. They also need tight end. Kind of, it's too early for these other guys though. They could use a boundary corner. Potentially like I don't know, like Clark Phillips. He's definitely like a slot corner. I'm thinking Devon Witherspoon maybe, although I kind of view him as almost a slot corner too, but he can play outside. Um, let's get them. Let's get them A.T. Perry. I like A.T. Perry. Um, you know, big guy as well, big body. Um, he'd be the best receiver on the Giants day one, most likely. Broncos at 25. Well, though he's been awful, Hendon Hooker's not an upgrade from Russell Wilson. I really do think if this team gets healthy, they get some more experience coaching wise. I think this team could turn things around next year. Tackle is important. I think Anton Harrison could be a good guy to slot in at right tackle for them. Uh, Still a little early for linebacker though. Trenton Simpson's interesting to me. Really view linebacker same as running back nowadays. It's just unless it's a great prospect, it's just really not worth taking in the first round. Um, I mean, there's also still some edge. I mean, Isaiah McGuire, Tyree Wilson is still available. I mean, you almost have to take one of those guys just because they've fallen to this point. Like they need tackle, but they've also been really hurt on the offensive line. I think McGuire is just really good, and he would fit in this Denver defense very well. He's gonna go way higher than this, and he should have gone way higher than this. He was just buried on the draft board, and I kind of forgot about him to be honest. He should go way higher though. He's very, very good. I would probably take him above Quiddy Pay to be honest. So or above Miles Murphy to be honest. So we could maybe even switch those around or something and give Denver Tyree Wilson. But either way, Isaiah McGuire, he's a monster. Denver should be very happy to have him at that point. Titans at 26, they need line help. They also need receiving help. Um, Really, that's about where you go with the Titans right now. The next best receiver for me would be Zay Flowers. I don't know if that's really what you want. I mean, he would be a nice duo to Robert Wood, but Taylor Lewan seems to be on his last legs, and the interior is not very good besides Ben Jones. Paris Johnson, who is a versatile player, tackle and guard, makes a lot of sense here. So I'm gonna go Paris Johnson. I'm not as high on him as other people, but I think this makes sense. This is about where I'd take him. Versatile player, so I think it makes sense for the Titans here. Again, potential need to tackle, need a guard. Cowboys at 27. I'm not quite on the whole receiver train. It's like every single mock draft I see, they have them going receiver. I don't quite think you have to go there. I think you could improve at corner. And heck, I mean, I think Clark Phillips makes sense here, really. I mean, Trevon Diggs is a great outside corner. He's become much better in man, but zone wise is where they start to kind of struggle a bit more. Like, because they're very good on man too, very good on blitz, and very good. I mean, I guess blitz is basically man, but like that kind of system. When it comes to zone, I think they struggle a bit more because they just can't really cover the middle of the field all that great sometimes. Part of that's because guys are able to just get up and over because they don't have anyone underneath. Because Micah Parsons is pass rushing most of the time, and Diggs is one on one. I think Phillips makes sense here. You can go receiver here too, but I think Clark Phillips makes sense here for the Cowboys. Bills at 28. Really tempted by Bijan Robinson here because it would just add that next dimension to their running game. Well, their offense in general. It would take heat off of Josh Allen. as a runner, which would be very good, obviously. I mean, besides that, maybe you go a Jordan Poyer replacement, maybe like an Antonio Johnson. Yeah, I mean, Bijan just makes sense here. I mean, it's a popular pick for a reason. He's a very good running back. He adds a dimension to their offense that they don't have right now. Vikings at 29. I mean, pass rush really has to be the thing here, right? I mean, the corners have started to actually play decent. The pass rush is what's been an issue. Kalijah Kancey makes a lot of sense to me, actually. 3-4 D end is his perfect fit. That's what they need. It's what they run. I think that'd be a great fit here for the Vikings. Chiefs at 30. Maybe you fill in that right tackle position. Anton Harrison. It's a popular pick I like to make to the Chiefs. I think it makes a lot of sense. Um, Defensively, you could go with a Tyree Wilson here. That makes a lot of sense. Very high upside, good edge rusher. Well, just looking at it, the offense has been fantastic. The defense still has a bit of improving to do. Tyree Wilson, very high upside pass rusher, very powerful guy. He makes sense here for the Chiefs. Again, should probably go way higher. And then the Eagles at 31. Earlier, I had them getting scroll all the way up here. Christian Gonzalez. They went corner. Their linebacker. Oh, we're going to a different. We're going to Amazon. Um, here for the Eagles, give him Jahmyr Gibbs. Just add that last dimension to the team that is so filled out and stacked. Give him an elite running and passing receiver. That team is scary. But that is going to round out my 2023 mock. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. More content coming as always. I've got positional rankings coming out every week. Mock the mocks. Going to have my Pro Bowl picks up here on Saturday. But yeah, share the content if you liked it, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye bye.